Good day everyone, I am Jan Angelo Magsino, third year political science student at Far Eastern University. And today, I will present one basic service devolved to the municipality, which is the social welfare services. Here is the flow of the presentation. First is the introduction, followed by the national agency that is responsible for exercising the identified basic service. After that, discuss why such basic service is devolved to local government units. Then, examine how this basic service is implemented in the Cainta local government unit. Lastly, evaluate the basic service implemented on Cainta LGU and formulate recommendations for it. So, without further ado, let's start. For that, I would like to cite Section 17B for Municipality, Rule 4 of the Local Government Code of 1991, which states social welfare services, which include programs and projects on child and youth welfare, family and community welfare, women's welfare, welfare of the elderly and disabled persons, community-based rehabilitation programs for vagrants, beggars, street children, scavengers, juvenile delinquents, and victims of drug abuse, livelihood and other pro-poor projects, nutrition services, and family planning services. First, let us define social welfare. According to Mendoza, 1981, social welfare is a development priority of the Philippine government. Conceptually, social welfare refers to the well-being of all the members of human society, including their physical, mental, emotional, social, economic, and spiritual state. Midgley, 1995, added that social welfare is attained when well-being is manifested by people. Therefore, social welfare can be achieved through laws, programs, benefits, and services that assure or strengthen provisions in meeting basic needs. Ultimately, social welfare provisions redound to the good of the social order. Next, what is social policy? Warren, 1963, explains that social welfare policy is composed of those aspects of social policy that involve mutual aid or helping people. Moving on to the situationers of the sectors. Poverty. Poverty remains high in the Philippines in terms of number of families affected. The increase was from 31.8% in 1997 to 34.2% in the year 2000. Women. Some women were deprived and unrecognized of their problems, such as abuse by husbands or other adults. It happens to 4 out of 10 abused women as reported by the United Nations Children's Fund and the University of the Philippines Center for Women's Studies in 1996. Elderly. The vision for the elderly is to enable them to return to the development mainstream, maximize their contribution to the society, and fully participate in community activities. Thus, there is interest on the part of the government to harness the elderly's potential in the development. Children and youth. Social welfare concerns pertinent to children include those engaged in hazardous occupation, commercial sexual exploitation, substance users, and abuse or maltreated children. Moreover, according to National Youth Commission 1999, social welfare is for the youth with special needs. It includes 10 clientele groups: youth in indigenous communities, youth with disabilities, youth in situations of armed conflict, young victims of natural disaster and calamities, youth offenders, juvenile delinquents, drug-dependent youth, street youth, abused or exploited youth, and abandoned youth. PWD. Social welfare is also for persons with disabilities, and there is still a lack of system for the continuous monitoring of the PWD population. The 1995 census was the first and last one that measures the size of this sector. Lastly, victims of natural disaster and calamities. Persons who are victims of natural disasters such as typhoons, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, Also, communities were affected by armed conflicts such as the Marawi siege that happens on 2017. The national agency that is responsible for these services will be the Department of Social Welfare and Development. According to Administrative Order No. 16, Series of 2011, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, is mandated by law to develop, administer, and implement comprehensive social welfare programs designed to uplift the living condition and empower the disadvantaged children, youth, women, older persons, persons with disabilities, families in crisis or at risk, and communities needing assistance, with the general objective to facilitate efficient and effective management of cases of disadvantaged children, youth, women, persons with disabilities, older persons, and families in crisis at risk or needy communities handled by LGUs, NGOs, and DSWD. For the legal basis, Republic Act No. 4373 as amended by RA 5175 regulating the practice of social work in the Philippines provides that no social work agency should operate unless registered with the DSWD. Republic Act No. 7160 or the Local Government Code of 1991, Chapter 2, Section 17. The provision for the delivery of basic services and facilities shall be devolved from the national government to provinces, cities, municipalities, and barangays, so that each LGU shall be responsible for a minimum set of services and facilities by established national policies, guidelines, and standards. Executive Order 15, Series of 1998, redirecting the function and operation of the DSWD, as amended by Executive Order 221 of 2003, defined the mandate, roles, powers, and functions of the DSWD. The DSWD is mandated to assist LGUs, NGOs, NGAs, and POs, and other members of civil society in effectively implementing programs, projects, and services that will alleviate poverty and empower disadvantaged individuals, families, and communities for an improved quality of life. Administrative Order 11, Series of 2007, revised standards of residual care services. The DSWD is the primary government agency responsible for caring for marginalized and disadvantaged sectors of society. Republic Act 9344, Juvenile Justice and Welfare Act of 2006, it covers the different stages involving children at risk and children in conflict with the law, from prevention to rehabilitation and reintegration. Republic Act 9262, Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act of 2004. It is hereby declared that the state values the dignity of women and children and guarantees full respect for human rights. The state also recognized the need to protect the family and its members, particularly women and children, from violence and threats to their safety and security. Republic Act 9257, Expanded Senior Citizens Act of 2003. The DSWD, in cooperation with the Office of Senior Citizens Affairs, or OSCA, and the local government units, non-government organization, and people's organization for senior citizens, shall develop and implement programs on social services for senior citizens, aftercare and follow-up services, neighborhood support services, substitute family care. Republic Act 8505, Rape Victim Assistance and Protection Act of 1998. It is the policy of the state to provide necessary assistance and protection for rape victims. Toward these ends, the government shall coordinate its various agencies and non-government organizations to work hand in hand for the establishment and operation of a rape crisis center in every province and city that shall assist and protect rape victims in the allegation of their cases and their recovery. Lastly, Republic Act 7610, Special Protection of Children Against Abuse, Exploitation, and Discrimination Act. The Department of Justice and DSWD, in coordination with other government agencies and private sector, concerned shall formulate comprehensive program to protect children against child prostitution and other sexual abuse, such as child trafficking, obscene publication, and indecent shows, other acts of abuse and circumstances which endanger child survival and normal development. For this section, it examines why social welfare services are devolved to municipalities. According to Administrative Number 7 Series of 2012, the Local Government Code of 1991 or Republic Act Number 7610, the autonomy of the local government units in attaining its fullest development as self-reliant communities in establishing effective partnership in the attainment of national goals. With decentralization, the state provided for a more responsive and accessible local government structure. LGUs are also given more power, authority, responsibilities, and resources. The LGU have the primary responsibility for the provision of a minimum set of services and facilities to their constituents, in accordance with established national policies, guidelines, and standards, with the objectives of A. Set a monitoring system for the availability and functionality of social welfare and development, SWD, programs, and services delivery of LGUs to its constituents. Set standards on the practice and implementation of SWD programs and services at the local level. C. Protect and promote the best interests of the poor, vulnerable, and disadvantaged individuals, families, groups, and communities by ensuring quality SWD program and services. D. Identify LGU where the SWD will invest in appropriate social protection programs based on the assessment results undertaken. For the evaluation of the implementation of the devolved basic service to Cainta LGU, according to my friend Joe, who is working at Cainta Municipality, states that the LGU personnel are courteous and welcoming to the people who needs assistance. Also, there is a quick response to the social welfare issues if there are the right resources to promote and uphold social welfare and good services. However, because of the enormous demand for social welfare services, sometimes they cannot observe social distancing. Therefore, I conclude that the Cainta local government units splendidly implement the basic service. However, there is a lack of social distancing inside the premises. My recommendations would be first, having online scheduling to prevent overcrowding inside the municipality. Second, increase of personnel if the COVID-19 restrictions were lifted to accommodate more people that need mutual aid. Here's the references I utilized for this presentation. That would be all, and again, I am Magsino. Thank you for listening. God bless us all.